Imagine a mind so powerful, so unbreakable, that no challenge, no setback, no force in this world could shake it. A mind that finds strength in every struggle, clarity in chaos, and peace even in the midst of pain. This is not a fantasy. This is not some unreachable state reserved for a select few. This is something you can cultivate, something you can build, something that can transform the way you experience life forever. The Buddha once said, "The mind is everything. What you think, you become." These words hold more truth than most realize. Your mind is the foundation of your reality. If it is strong, you are strong. If it is disciplined, you are disciplined. If it is resilient, nothing can break you. But most people allow their minds to be shaped by the external world. They allow circumstances, emotions, and other people to dictate their thoughts, their actions, their energy. They react instead of respond. They allow fear, doubt, and anger to take control. And because of this, they remain stuck, weak, uncertain, easily swayed by the storms of life. But those who have mastered their minds, they move differently. They do not flinch in the face of adversity. They do not waste energy on what does not serve them. They do not allow their emotions to dictate their reality. They live with clarity, with purpose, with an unshakable presence that commands respect. They are not slaves to their thoughts. They are the masters of them. And that is exactly what you must become. The first and most important battle you will ever fight is the one within your own mind. Every fear, every doubt, every limiting belief, these are the real enemies. And they do not live outside of you. They are within. Buddhism teaches that true strength comes not from conquering the world, but from conquering yourself. The ability to sit with your thoughts, to observe them without attachment, to recognize them as fleeting, impermanent things rather than absolute truths. This is the first step to mastery. Your thoughts do not define you. Your emotions do not control you. They are visitors, and just as they arrive, they will leave, but only if you allow them to. The problem is, most people do not observe their thoughts. They identify with them. They believe them. They allow themselves to be swept away by them, like a leaf caught in a violent storm. But when you develop awareness, when you step back and watch your thoughts instead of reacting to them, you take your power back. You become the observer instead of the victim. Meditation is not just a practice, it is a weapon against the chaos of the mind, a tool to sharpen your awareness, to detach from the unnecessary, to cultivate a level of inner strength that cannot be broken. Through meditation, you learn to sit in stillness, to witness your fears, your doubts, your anxieties without being consumed by them, to create space between yourself and the passing noise of the mind. And in that space, you find power. The mind left unchecked will lead you astray. It will create problems where none exist. It will feed you stories of failure, of inadequacy, of fear. But with awareness, with discipline, you begin to see through the illusion. You begin to realize that these thoughts are nothing more than passing clouds, temporary disturbances in the vast sky of your consciousness. And once you realize this, they lose their power over you. This is where real strength is built. Not in fighting against your emotions, but in understanding them. Not in suppressing your fears, but in facing them with clarity. The Buddha said, "It is a man's own mind, not his enemy or foe, that lures him to evil ways." This means that your greatest challenges, your greatest struggles, your greatest obstacles will not come from the outside world. They will come from within. But if you can master your own mind, nothing else will ever be able to defeat you. An unshakable mindset is not built overnight. It is forged through practice, through repetition, through daily commitment to discipline and self-awareness. In Buddhism, mindfulness, the act of being fully present in the moment, is the foundation of inner strength. Most people live in the past, dwelling on mistakes and regrets. Or they live in the future, worrying about things that have not yet happened. And because of this, they are never truly here, never truly present, never fully in control. But the ones who have trained their minds, they are not stuck in the past. They do not waste energy on things they cannot change. They do not fear the future. They focus only on the now, on this breath, this moment, this step. And because of that, they move with clarity, with confidence, with absolute certainty. The Buddha said, "Do not dwell in the past, do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Because in the present there is no fear. In the present there is no anxiety. In the present, period, 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 period. Зрение перед тобой есть только то, что находится перед тобой. And when you anchor yourself in the now, when you train yourself to remain fully engaged with reality rather than lost in thought, your mind becomes unshakable. You are no longer easily disturbed by distractions, by outside noise, by the opinions of others. You become rooted, stable, immovable. Most people fear discomfort. They run from it. They avoid anything that causes them pain, anything that forces them to confront their own weaknesses. But Buddhism teaches that discomfort is not something to fear. It is something to embrace. Because growth only comes through challenge. Strength is only built through resistance. If you avoid pain, if you run from adversity, you will remain weak. But if you face it, if you lean into it, if you endure it, you will become something else entirely. Endurance is one of the most difficult disciplines. But it is only to those who endure that victory comes. This is why the strongest minds are not found in those who live in comfort, but in those who seek out struggle, who challenge themselves daily, who train their minds, their bodies, their spirits to withstand anything. Because the truth is, you will face hardship. You will face loss. You will face moments where you feel like breaking. But if you have built your mind into a fortress, nothing will be able to break you. And that is why you must train. Every day, every moment, every decision. You must build the habit of resilience, of awareness, of discipline. You must teach yourself to see discomfort not as suffering, but as opportunity. You must reframe fear not as an obstacle, but as a teacher. You must stop running from pain and start using it as fuel. This is how you become unshakable. This is how you move through life with an energy that cannot be disturbed. This is how you develop the kind of presence that commands respect, the kind of confidence that cannot be faked, the kind of strength that is rare to find in this world. But it all starts with the mind. It starts with understanding that every thought, every emotion, every reaction is under your control. It starts with training yourself to respond instead of react, to observe instead of identify, to master your own mind instead of being ruled by it. Because once you master yourself, nothing else can master you. Most people go through life believing they are at the mercy of their emotions, that their thoughts control them, that their reactions are automatic and unavoidable. But the truth is, your mind is like a muscle. It can be trained, refined, and strengthened. You are not a slave to your thoughts. You are not a victim of your emotions. You are the master of them, but only if you choose to be. A strong mind is not one that never feels fear, doubt, or anger. It is one that feels those emotions fully, but does not let them dictate actions. This is where most people fail. They allow temporary emotions to drive permanent decisions. They let fear keep them from moving forward. They let doubt stop them from taking action. They let anger destroy their relationships. They believe that just because an emotion arises, it must be obeyed. But emotions are just signals. They are not orders. The ones who rise above, the ones who become truly unshakable, understand this. They do not react impulsively. They do not allow their emotions to control their behavior. They step back. They observe. They respond with purpose. And in doing so, they control not just themselves, but the world around them. Think of the last time you let anger take over. The last time you allowed fear to stop you from doing something. The last time you reacted without thinking. What was the result? Did it serve you? Or did it lead to regret, wasted energy, and unnecessary conflict? Now imagine if in that same moment you had taken a deep breath. If you had paused, if you had looked at the situation with clarity instead of emotion, the outcome would have been different. But this level of control does not come naturally. It must be built. It must be trained. It must become second nature. The mind is like water. It takes the shape of whatever contains it. If you allow yourself to be controlled by outside forces, your mind will be chaotic, reactive, unstable. But if you take control, if you discipline yourself, if you train your thoughts, your mind becomes still, steady, powerful. This is why the greatest minds in history, philosophers, warriors, monks, practiced mental discipline. Because they understood that a person who cannot control their own mind is controlled by everything around them. They understood that without self-mastery, there is no true freedom. In Buddhism, there is a teaching called the second arrow. It says that in life, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The first arrow is the event itself, the setback, the insult, the challenge. The second arrow is your reaction, the overthinking, the frustration, the dwelling on what happened. Most people do not realize that the first arrow is unavoidable, but the second arrow, that is entirely within your control. And those who master their minds learn to stop shooting themselves with that second arrow. They learn to accept what is, to move forward without unnecessary suffering. So ask yourself, how often are you shooting yourself with the second arrow? How often do you allow your own mind to create more suffering than the situation itself? A strong mind does not avoid pain. It faces it without creating more of it. It does not waste energy dwelling on what cannot be changed. It moves forward. This is the path to self-mastery, the path of unshakable mental discipline. But it requires training, and the first step in that training is awareness. You must become aware of your thoughts, your reactions, your emotions. Most people operate on autopilot, allowing their minds to run without question. But the ones who master themselves, they observe, they take note, they become aware of their triggers, their weaknesses, their emotional patterns, and once they have awareness, they have the power to change. The next time you feel anger rising, do not react. Pause, observe, feel the emotion fully, but do not let it take over. The next time fear tries to stop you, recognize it for what it is. Just a thought, just a signal, not a command. The next time doubt creeps in, remind yourself that it is nothing more than an old pattern, an illusion trying to hold you back. Your mind is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for greatness or for destruction. Most people never learn how to use it correctly, but you will. You are already beginning to. Every time you take control of your thoughts, every time you choose discipline over impulse, every time you override weakness with strength, you are training yourself to be unshakable. Meditation is one of the most powerful ways to sharpen your mind, to train yourself to be fully present, fully aware, fully in control. It is not about sitting in silence. It is about teaching yourself to watch your thoughts without being consumed by them, to notice emotions without being controlled by them, to create space between stimulus and response. The greatest warriors in history, the most disciplined minds, the strongest individuals, they all understood the importance of stillness. They all trained their minds as intensely as they trained their bodies, because they knew that in the end, battles are not won in the physical realm alone. They are won in the mind first. Imagine the power you will have when nothing shakes you, when words do not offend you, when obstacles do not discourage you, when fear does not stop you. Imagine walking through life with an unshakable presence, knowing that no matter what happens, you will remain in control. That is not a fantasy. That is a choice to train your mind instead of letting it run you. The world is full of people who react, who panic, who waste energy on things they cannot change, who spend their lives in a constant state of mental turmoil. But you are not like them. You are training yourself to be different, to be stronger, to be untouchable. And the more you train, the more effortless it becomes. The more you practice, the more natural it feels. Until one day, you wake up and realize that nothing and no one has power over you anymore. Because the world belongs to those who have mastered themselves. The mind is the greatest weapon you will ever possess, but only if you learn to control it. Most people live their lives as prisoners to their own thoughts, reacting to every challenge, every setback, every insult, without realizing they are giving away their power. But those who understand the truth, those who see that every thought, every emotion, every reaction is a choice, those are the ones who rise above. Those are the ones who move through life with absolute control, with unshakable discipline, with a presence that cannot be ignored. The reason most people struggle is simple. They do not control their minds. Their minds control them. They allow themselves to be ruled by fear, by doubt, by anger, by distractions. They wake up and immediately let external forces dictate their emotions. A single negative comment ruins their entire day. A minor inconvenience throws them into frustration. A past failure haunts their every move. They react without thinking, without awareness, without mastery. But the strong, the ones who separate themselves from the rest, they do not react. They respond. They do not allow external forces to shape them. They shape themselves. And this is where you must begin. Start with the realization that nothing outside of you has power over you unless you allow it to. The words of others, the actions of others, the challenges life throws at you. None of these things have the ability to break you unless you give them permission. And the moment you take back that permission, the moment you decide that your mind belongs to you and no one else, you become untouchable. This is not about suppressing emotions. It is not about pretending that challenges do not exist. It is about understanding that you have a choice in how you respond. that you do not have to give in to every impulse, every fear, every frustration, that you can train yourself to be calm, focused, disciplined no matter what is happening around you. Think of a flame. A weak flame is easily extinguished by the wind, but a strong flame? It grows stronger with the wind. It feeds on the resistance. It becomes something greater because of the challenge. This is how you must train your mind. Every time you face adversity, every time something does not go your way, every time you are tested, you must remind yourself, this is fuel. This is an opportunity. This is my chance to sharpen myself into something unbreakable. There are people in this world who let every minor inconvenience derail them. And then there are those who walk through storms without flinching, who face conflict without losing their composure, who endure suffering without breaking. The difference between the two: mastery, discipline, control. The problem is, most people wait until they are in the middle of a storm before they try to find strength. They wait until they are already drowning in chaos before they attempt to steady themselves. But true mastery is built before you need it. It is built in the small moments, in the daily habits, in the way you carry yourself, even when no one is watching. This is why monks spend years training their minds in solitude, why warriors practice discipline long before they ever enter battle, because they understand that when the moment comes, when the real challenge arises, their response will not be determined in that moment. It will be determined by the training they have already done. So ask yourself, what are you training for? Are you training yourself to react impulsively, to lose control, to let emotions dictate your life? Or are you training yourself to remain calm under pressure, to think clearly in chaos, to stay unshaken no matter what happens? Because every moment, every decision, every response is part of that training. Most people wait for motivation. They wait until they feel strong before they take action. But the ones who rise above, they act first. They build strength before they need it. They train themselves to be unshakable long before the storm arrives. And when it does, when life tests them, when everything around them is falling apart, they remain steady. Because they have already decided nothing will break them. This is where true power comes from. Not from reacting, not from fighting every battle that presents itself, but from knowing when to engage and when to walk away. From understanding that not every conflict is worth your energy. From recognizing that silence is often stronger than words. From realizing that restraint is not weakness, it is control. You must learn to conserve your energy, to protect it, to invest it only in things that matter. Weak minds waste energy on arguments, on proving themselves, on responding to every minor inconvenience. But strong minds, they are selective. They do not waste breath on things that do not serve them. They do not give their attention to distractions. They do not engage in every battle, because they know that not every battle is worth fighting. The next time someone tries to provoke you, pause. Do not react. Observe. Feel the emotion rising, but do not act on it. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? And most of the time, the answer will be no. Because most of the things that steal your energy are not worth your time. Most of the things that disrupt your peace only have power because you allow them to. And the moment you start practicing this, the moment you train yourself to respond instead of react, you will feel something shift. You will feel a level of control that most people will never experience. You will move through life with a presence that is undeniable, and others will notice. They will see that you do not flinch under pressure, that you do not waste time on meaningless conflicts, that you do not allow emotions to dictate your actions, and they will respect it, because true strength is rare. True discipline is rare, and those who possess it stand out without even trying. But this is not something you achieve overnight. This is something you build. Every day, every moment, every time you resist the urge to react emotionally, every time you choose discipline over impulse, every time you remain calm when everything around you is chaotic. And over time, it becomes who you are. It becomes effortless. Until one day, you wake up and realize that nothing outside of you has power over you anymore. That no situation, no insult, no setback can shake you. That you have become something else entirely. Something unbreakable. That is the path you are on. And if you stay on it, if you commit to it fully, if you refuse to let anything pull you away from it, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. Because the world does not belong to those who react. It belongs to those who respond, to those who choose, to those who master themselves. And that is exactly what you are becoming. The greatest battle you will ever fight is not against the world, not against other people, not against circumstances. It is against yourself, against your doubts, your fears, your impulses, against the part of you that wants to take the easy way out, that wants to react instead of respond, that wants to cling to comfort instead of rising to greatness. Most people will lose this battle, not because they are weak, but because they never even realize it is happening. They never take control of their own minds. They never master themselves. And because of that, they spend their entire lives being controlled by emotions, by distractions, by the opinions of others. But you will not live that way. You will not be another person ruled by impulse, wasting time and energy on things that do not matter. You will not be another person who allows external forces to dictate their internal state. You will not be another person who gives away their power without even realizing it. Because you are on a different path. You are on the path of mastery, the path of control, the path of becoming something so unshakable, so unbreakable, so powerful that nothing in this world can disturb your peace. The first step in this path is awareness. You must become aware of every thought, every reaction, every habit that weakens you. Most people move through life on autopilot, reacting without thinking, responding to situations the same way they always have, never questioning whether their patterns serve them or destroy them. But once you become aware, once you begin to observe your own mind instead of being controlled by it, you start to see the truth. You start to see how much of your energy is being wasted on meaningless things. How many times you allow yourself to be pulled into unnecessary conflict. How often you let small moments of frustration or anger control your entire day. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Once you recognize how much power you have been giving away, you will be forced to make a choice. Will you continue to live in reaction, or will you take control? The world is full of people who react, who get offended over nothing, who lose their temper over the smallest inconvenience, who allow their emotions to dictate their actions. But those who rise above, those who become truly great, they do not live like this. They do not waste time on battles that do not serve them. They do not let their emotions make decisions for them. They do not move through life being pulled in 100 different directions. They are centered, focused, in control. And that is what you must train yourself to be. Start by mastering small moments. The next time you feel frustration building, pause. The next time someone disrespects you, do not respond. The next time fear creeps in, recognize it for what it is, just a thought, not a truth. Every time you resist the urge to react emotionally, you are training yourself to be stronger. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you are sharpening your mind. Every time you walk away from negativity instead of engaging in it, you are proving to yourself that you are in control. And the more you do this, the more effortless it becomes. Until one day, you wake up and realize that nothing outside of you has power over you anymore. That no insult, no setback, no challenge can shake you. That you are no longer ruled by anything but your own will. This is what it means to be unshakable. Most people think strength is about dominance, about control over others. But real strength, true power, has nothing to do with anyone else. It is about control over yourself. It is about being able to walk into any situation, any conflict, any challenge, and remain completely steady. It is about being able to sit in complete silence, alone with your own thoughts, and not be afraid. It is about carrying yourself with such certainty, such confidence, such presence that people feel it without you saying a single word. And that level of strength, that level of mastery, does not come from reacting to every little thing that happens. It does not come from wasting energy on things that do not matter. It comes from discipline, from restraint, from the ability to focus only on what serves you, only on what moves you forward. The truth is, most of the battles people fight every day are meaningless, arguing over things that do not matter, defending themselves from people who are not worth their time, seeking validation from people who do not care about them, worrying about things that they cannot control. All of it is wasted energy. And the ones who become great, the ones who truly master themselves, they do not waste energy. They conserve it. They protect it. They invest it only in things that make them stronger. So ask yourself, where is your energy going? Are you using it to build yourself into something greater? Or are you wasting it on things that do not serve you? Are you feeding your discipline, your strength, your control? Or are you feeding your impulses, your distractions, your weakness? Every action you take, every decision you make, every response you give is shaping who you become. And you must decide, are you going to be like everyone else? Easily triggered, easily distracted, easily thrown off course? Or are you going to be different? Are you going to be one of the few who moves with intention, who speaks only when necessary, who controls themselves with absolute precision? Because the ones who live like that, the ones who refuse to react, who refuse to waste energy, who refuse to give away their power, those are the ones who separate themselves from the rest. This is why the greatest minds in history have always been the most disciplined, why the strongest warriors have always been the most controlled, why the most respected leaders have always been the most reserved. Because they understood the truth. Power is not in speaking the loudest, in reacting the fastest, in showing aggression. Power is in control. Power is in knowing when to act and when to remain still. Power is in carrying yourself in such a way that you do not need to prove anything, because it is already known. This is what you are building. This is what you are training for. A mind so strong that nothing shakes it. a presence so steady that nothing disturbs it, a level of control so powerful that nothing can pull you away from your path. And every day, every moment, every decision is another step on that path. You are not here to be ordinary. You are not here to live like everyone else, reacting to everything, wasting time on things that do not matter. You are here to be something greater, to rise above, to master yourself so completely that the world bends around you instead of the other way around. And once you reach that level, once you step into that power, you will understand something that most people will never realize. Nothing outside of you has control over you, because you have already taken full control over yourself. The mind is the ultimate battlefield, and the war is never against the outside world. It is against yourself, against the weak thoughts, the undisciplined habits, the impulses that try to pull you away from your path. Most people never even realize they are at war. They live as slaves to their emotions, reacting to everything, wasting energy on battles that do not serve them. But the ones who understand, the ones who see the truth, they take control. They sharpen their minds. They train their thoughts. They build an inner fortress so strong that no external force can shake them. And that is what you must do. Most people will never reach this level because they do not want to face themselves. They do not want to sit in silence and confront their own weaknesses. They do not want to do the work of disciplining their minds, of reshaping their thoughts, of breaking the patterns that have controlled them for years. They look for distractions. They seek comfort. They run from discomfort, never realizing that discomfort is the only path to true power. But the ones who rise above, the ones who become unshakable, they do not run. They face themselves head on. They welcome the challenge. They do not fear their own mind. They master it. And because of that, they move through life with a presence that cannot be ignored. Imagine the level of strength you will have when no situation can disturb you, when no words can trigger you, when no setback can break you. Imagine being in complete control of your emotions, of your thoughts, of your reactions, at all times. This is not a fantasy. This is not some unreachable state. This is something you can train, something you can develop, something that will transform your entire existence. But it requires discipline, relentless, unwavering discipline. Most people are weak not because they lack potential, but because they lack discipline. They wake up and let their day control them instead of controlling their day. They allow their minds to wander into negativity instead of directing their thoughts towards strength. They react impulsively instead of responding with purpose. They live as if their emotions are in charge, instead of understanding that emotions are just tools, nothing more. Discipline is what separates the strong from the weak, the ones who react from the ones who respond, the ones who drift through life from the ones who carve their own path. Start with your habits. Every small decision you make is either making you stronger or weaker. The time you wake up, the way you start your day, the thoughts you allow into your mind, the words you speak, the way you carry yourself, it all matters. Weakness is not built in one day. It is built in small moments, repeated over time. And strength? It is built the same way. Wake up with purpose. The moment your eyes open, take control. Do not check your phone. Do not waste time scrolling through distractions. Do not allow the world to dictate your focus. Set your intentions. Decide how you will move through the day before the day begins. Train your body, your mind, and your body are not separate. They are one. If you cannot control what you eat, if you cannot push yourself through discomfort, if you cannot demand discipline from your physical self, how can you expect to control your thoughts, your emotions, your energy? Strengthen your body, and you strengthen your mind. Protect your energy. Do not waste words proving yourself to people who do not matter. Do not waste time defending your name to people who will never understand you. Do not waste energy engaging in battles that do not serve your purpose. Weak people waste their energy on distractions. Strong people invest their energy only in what makes them better. And most importantly, control your emotions. There is no power in reacting. There is no strength in losing control. The next time someone tries to provoke you, remain still. The next time frustration rises within you, do not let it dictate your actions. The next time doubt creeps into your mind, shut it down with action. Most people believe that emotions are something that happened to them, but they are wrong. Emotions are something you can direct, something you can train, something you can use as fuel instead of letting them use you. Anger is energy. Fear is energy. Frustration is energy. But most people let these energies control them instead of controlling these energies. They let anger make them reckless. They let fear make them hesitate. They let frustration make them quit. But the ones who rise above, they take these same emotions and transform them into something useful. Anger becomes motivation. Fear becomes awareness. Frustration becomes discipline. This is the difference between the average and the elite. The average react. The elite redirect. The average allow emotions to consume them. The elite use emotions as fuel. The average waste time. The elite move with precision. And if you want to be among the elite, if you want to move through life with an energy that commands respect without saying a word, then you must master this. You must train yourself every single day to remain in control. Most people do not understand this level of discipline. They think it is about being cold, emotionless, detached from the world, but they are wrong. This is not about feeling less. It is about feeling more while remaining in control. It is about experiencing every emotion fully, but deciding how you will use it. It is about taking absolute command over your mind, your body, your spirit, and using every ounce of energy you have to move forward. Because in the end, that is what this is all about. Forward motion, progress, growth, strength. Every day is a chance to sharpen yourself. Every situation is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are unshakable. Every obstacle is another weight to lift, another test to pass, another step toward becoming the strongest version of yourself. Most people will never live this way. Not because they can't, but because they won't. Because they are not willing to put in the work. Because they would rather stay comfortable, stay distracted, stay weak. But you are not most people. You are here to be something greater. You are here to train your mind so that nothing, no setback, no insult, no failure can break you. You are here to master yourself so completely that the world bends around you instead of the other way around. And every day, with every disciplined action, with every moment of restraint, with every choice to move with power instead of reacting with weakness, you are building that version of yourself, the version of you that cannot be stopped, the version of you that commands respect without speaking, the version of you that is truly, undeniably unshakable. There comes a point when you realize that nothing in this world can truly break you unless you allow it to. That no setback, no failure, no insult has the power to define you unless you give it permission. That every obstacle is simply an opportunity to sharpen your mind, to strengthen your discipline, to prove to yourself that you are in complete control. This is the mindset that separates the weak from the strong, the ordinary from the extraordinary, the ones who react from the ones who respond. Most people will never reach this level because they are too attached to their emotions. They believe that every feeling, every thought, every doubt must be obeyed. They let fear stop them, anger consume them, frustration drain them. They do not realize that emotions are just passing storms, temporary visitors that only have power if you give it to them. But those who rise above, they are different. They do not let emotions rule them. They rule their emotions. They do not allow circumstances to dictate their inner state. They decide how they will feel, how they will act, how they will move through the world. And this is what makes them unstoppable. True power does not come from controlling others. It comes from controlling yourself, from mastering the one thing that most people never even attempt to control, the mind. Because the truth is, everything in life is a mental game. Every challenge, every setback, every victory, it all begins and ends in your mind. If you believe you are weak, you will act weak. If you believe you are strong, you will carry yourself with strength. If you believe that failure is the end, it will be. But if you believe that failure is just another lesson, another step forward, nothing will ever be able to stop you. This is why the strongest individuals move through life with a level of confidence that others cannot understand. They do not seek approval. They do not beg for validation. They do not need the world to recognize their power, because they have already recognized it within themselves. They have built it, earned it, sharpened it through discipline, through repetition, through a relentless refusal to be controlled by anything outside of them. But this level of control is not given. It is earned. It is built through the small moments, the daily battles, the decisions you make every single day. Do you wake up with purpose, or do you let the world dictate your mindset? Do you control your emotions, or do they control you? Do you protect your energy, or do you waste it on things that do not serve you? Every action, every thought, every reaction is either making you stronger or weaker. There is no in-between. The problem is, most people will choose comfort over control. They will choose to react instead of respond. They will choose to blame circumstances instead of taking full responsibility. Because that is the easier path. That is the path that requires no discipline, no effort, no self-awareness. But the ones who become unshakable, they do not take the easy path. They do not make excuses. They do not allow anything, no fear, no doubt, no failure, to pull them away from their mission. And when you move like this, when you carry yourself with this level of discipline, the world takes notice. People can feel when someone is in control. They can see when someone does not flinch under pressure, when someone does not waste energy on meaningless battles, when someone operates with a level of presence that cannot be ignored. And that is real power, the kind of power that does not need to be spoken. It is simply felt. Imagine the level of strength you will have when no one can manipulate you, when no situation can overwhelm you, when no failure can shake your belief in yourself. Imagine moving through life with complete certainty, knowing that no matter what happens, you will remain steady, unbothered, unshaken. That is the kind of presence that commands respect without ever demanding it. That is the kind of control that makes you truly unstoppable. But this does not happen by accident. It happens by training, by sharpening your mind every day, by testing yourself in the small moments so that when the big moments come, you are already prepared. Because the truth is, life will test you. You will face challenges. You will face setbacks. You will have moments where doubt creeps in, where weakness whispers in your ear, where everything in you wants to give up. But those are the moments that define you. Those are the moments where you either rise or fall. And if you have trained yourself well, if you have built your mind into an unshakable fortress, you will always rise. The next time you feel frustration creeping in, pause. The next time you feel the urge to react emotionally, breathe. The next time fear tries to stop you, push forward anyway. Every time you override an impulse, every time you choose discipline over comfort, every time you refuse to let emotions dictate your actions, you are reinforcing your strength. This is how you become untouchable. Most people think that avoiding struggle makes life easier. But the truth is, the more you avoid struggle, the weaker you become. The more you run from discomfort, the more fragile you become. The more you avoid challenge, the less capable you are when it finally arrives. But those who seek out struggle, who lean into discomfort, who put themselves in situations where they must remain in control, those are the ones who become truly powerful. This is why the strongest people train daily.